And scene transition. Woohoo! Welcome, everybody! It is time for another episode of making things and breaking things in exciting and creative ways. And we are going to continue to work on our little PlayStation 3 synth. And just in case we got some new folks here tonight, let's catch everybody up. So, we've got this cool little thing. I'm already connected by hitting this menu, and now I can use my left joystick to control a filter, and whenever I hit the X button, we play a note. We're gonna call it the Silver Machine when it's done. And we've been building it from scratch. The victories of last stream were getting this just the X-axis control to act a little bit more like the video games that we're familiar with, rather than mapping the entire X-axis all the way from minimum to maximum. We've gotten it to increment. When I press left a little bit, it moves slowly. When I press right just a little bit, it moves slowly. And when I press all the way and keep holding, it will scroll across the screen like Mario. At least that's the hope. And it's feeling pretty good. So we've been doing some cleanup and getting that to actually feel nice. And this time I have a little side quest for us. I probably could have Googled this before we started, but the whole thing I want to do with this stream is do things together and be able to figure things out together and show the process of trial and error and debugging, and etc., etc. So while I'm rambling, first I just want to say welcome to a couple of new followers that we have. Hello to Bobby Zero. Hello to DKO'd80. And I apologize if I mess up any of your names, but you are so welcome. Hello to FishDick420, and hello to Beard Pills. And if anyone is in chat, please feel free to jump in and introduce yourself. I want this to be like as interactive as we can make it, so that when I inevitably fuck up, you can help. And in return, I can share some tricks that I've picked up over the years, and we can learn how to build things together. And also, if you hit me up on Twitter and send me your max patches or your songs, then I can spread the love and we can play around with them on stream. Anyway, yes, so that's the idea. Let's get down to business. Let's open this John up. And I'm going to click over here to my stream manager while we open up Max. And yes, as I was saying, I have a little side quest for us today. So, over here in our notes folder, where I always have a notes folder. Again, to any new, any new viewers, I always have to leave myself a trail of breadcrumbs, otherwise I get distracted or, it's easy to lose focus on the goals of a project, and it's really important to have those in mind, even if they're simple like this. I like space rock, and so I want this synth to do psych rock stuff really easily. I want it to feel like button mashing, and I want it to be easy to approach, but also have some depth to it. So we've gotten the controller to connect as our step one. We can make notes, and we're just using some filtered white noise for that right now. Start simple. And we want to be able to use the joystick to control our filter, but it occurred to me for a side quest, meaning if this is impossible or difficult, we don't need to dive down this rabbit hole too far, but I thought it would be really cool. And let's see, we can actually mark this as done while we're here. We did this last time. We've gotten our speed settings pretty good. Whoop. Boop. So, and we did this already too. Sorry, just getting my thoughts in order. This is part of the fun of just working away on a project. You gotta kind of remember where you were, and everyone does this. I'm just doing it in front of you. So, yes, side quest. We have a good joystick. Wouldn't it be neat if our joystick allowed us to control other effects in live? I want to be able to use our joystick to MIDI map, and that way you could use it to control delay or other filters or other synths. There's so many XY controls in Live already that I thought that would be an excellent extra to have for this synth. We'll still have our internal audio, we'll still have our cool button mechanics, but if I could MIDI map this joystick, I think that'd be sick. And if I could MIDI map both joysticks, that would be even sicker. So I want to experiment around with that a little bit. That is our first goal for tonight. So let's take a look at this patch. Alrighty, and again, to chat, please stop me if you have questions. This is meant to be a beginner-friendly stream, and I want us to have fun together and learn together, and stop me if you have suggestions, anything like that. We're just gonna chill here and make some happy little max patches. So, here is the guts of our patch. We've got our filter over here. We have we have our entire controller input over here, and we are sending the raw joystick left X data from here up to here. And let's see. So I want to be able to put this into its own little B patcher today, I think. So I'm going to remind myself kind of how this works. We've done some refactoring on this over the last couple of weeks, and it's looking pretty nice. So I think this is the time where we could apply it as a B patcher and be able to reuse it for the other joystick and maybe the Y-axis. So here's our raw joystick data. And if I select this from our menu, we should be able to see it coming in here. Yep, you can see this number moving here. It goes from 0 to 255. Right, so we're splitting this between the left side of the joystick, goes from 0 to 134, and the right side goes from 135 to 138. Oh no, sorry, this is our dead zone. So this is in the middle. We want to trigger a 0 so that the filter stops if I'm not doing anything to the joystick. And then if we are above 138, then we come out here. So we have a scale object for the left side of the joystick and a scale object for the right side of the joystick. For the left side, we are going to scale down to either -10 if we're all the way to the left, or 0. Sorry, not all the way to the right. So from middle to left is -10 to 0. Yes, that's correct. Reminding myself of all this stuff. This is why you need a breadcrumb trail. And then from the right, we go 0 to +10. So that number between -10 and +10 is what we are using to increment our filter. And we send that number as joystick X all the way up here. So let's see. Where would we want to break this out to MIDI? So first of all, I just want to see if this whole MIDI mapping thing is possible. I'm going to put a MIDI out object in here, and I'm going to put a number box just so that we can test this one little idea. I want to see if we can send joystick data from outside of this patch into Live's existing MIDI mapping, because then we could do awesome shit with it. Awesome shit TM. So MIDI out. Let's see. That I would expect to have devices here. That's how I remember it working in regular Max patches. So if I just open up a not Max for Live patch here, does this work the way I remember it? No MIDI output devices. That's interesting. That might mean that I need to set something up in my audio MIDI preferences. Alright, well, this is fun. We're gonna have to probably Google this, but I feel like there's probably already an example patch for this. So I'm gonna go look over here under Max for Live at Max Midi Effects and see what this actually tells us. So if I just open up an example one here, yeah, so you can see this is using MIDI in and MIDI out objects. This is going to send MIDI to Live. You can build your MIDI effect here. But I don't know if this actually makes it available to Ableton's mapping. That's what I really want. So this is for pure MIDI effects. I wonder if the instrument looks different. So if I open this guy up, we have... Okay, this is using the same MIDI in object. Takes MIDI from live. We're supposed to build an instrument here and then use plug out, which sends audio to live. Okay, so it seems like we're on the right track with MIDI out, but maybe I need to configure something. Let's open up the help file and see what we are supposed to see. So again, to any newcomers, the help files are the best reference that I have found. You can copy and paste stuff out of here at your leisure. It is not cheating. It is what you are expected to do. So, arguments, we would have a port, we would have a device, and we can start and stop notes, we can switch to ports. I really thought that we would have devices here. What am I thinking of? Is there like a... Oh, hey, Beard Pills! Whitney Houston at the 1991 Super Bowl. Maybe that'll help. Let's see. That is not what I was thinking of. Maybe note out is what I'm thinking of. Or control out. Okay, I'm missing devices here. I should see IAC bus or something like that. What I want to do is be able to hit this MIDI map function and then be able to jump over here to my ARP and control the mix or something like that. Or jump over here and be able to control these delay parameters with my joystick. I think that would be rad. Hey, Hokage. Yeah, I thought that was you. Alright. So, yeah, thanks for joining us tonight. If you know the answer to this, feel free to jump in. I'm starting to feel like I'm missing something dumb, but I'm sure we will figure it out. I'm going to open up my system preferences, or rather, I probably want audio MIDI set up. And if I don't see something immediately here, then we all get to Google together. What fun. Alright, so this is audio devices. That's not what I want. I don't want audio devices. Where the heck are the MIDI devices? I'm showing my age. I haven't had to touch this since I had a really old Mac. So there is a device argument here, but the thing is I'm not seeing any devices here. If I say, let's just play with this for a second. If I were to steal this to make a note and stop a note and say port A, you're looking for some devices. Yeah, Hokage, I'm looking for... I want to be able to use the IAC bus or something like that. Command 2. In Ableton? No, Command 2 isn't doing anything. But thank you. Good suggestion. I'm going to open up Midi Monitor. This is also an incredibly useful program here. I use this all the time. It's a good way to troubleshoot stuff. You can set your MIDI sources here, and you can spy on your output. And so what output destinations do we have here? Okay, so we have a bus, we have my EIE as my interface, we have ports 1, 2, and 3, we have 2 Macs, 1 and 2. Any of those should really work, and I would really be expecting them to show up here as part of MIDI out. So yeah, it's in the audio MIDI settings. Bobby Zero, did you enable the MIDI outputs in MIDI setup in Macs? I might have not done that. Is there something special for that in Macs for Live? Or is that in, just regular old... Here, let's open up Macs preferences. Let's see, we have audio, we have console, we have files, we have interface. Jitter, languages, mixer, node for max, patching, scheduler. Bobby Zero says, options, MIDI setup, not preferences. Aha. And Beard Pills, audio MIDI setup, .app, Apple 2, oh, Command 2. Okay, opens a window that takes you to the IAC driver window. Thank you. See, this is awesome. This is what I was hoping we would get. Thanks for hanging out, you guys. We'll figure this out. So, first, let's try what Bobby Zero was saying. So within Max, we want to go options, you were saying, and MIDI setup. Thank you. Okay, I have no inputs or outputs. That is definitely the problem. So let's take a look at my audio MIDI setup, like Beard Pills was saying. So what I want to do is go to audio MIDI setup, and I seem to be stuck in audio devices, which I don't care about. And you were saying this is now Command 2. Aha! Thank you! Yes, this is what I was looking for. So yeah, I want to be able to send my MIDI out to the IAC driver or something like that is kind of what I was hoping for. Devices online, and let's see. Ports, bus 1. Yeah, that looks good. Why is it red? Is that bad? Maybe I should revert. Let's see. What do you think, chat? Should I hit revert? Oh, Beard Pills, no problem. Thank you, yes. Let's try hitting revert. Maybe I've messed something up in here, though I don't really remember touching this. And it says devices online, so you'd think we'd be seeing it. Okay. We could add a port, so you can set up the MIDI device's port structure here. First set the number of ports on the device, then indicate the number of MIDI in and out connectors for each port. I didn't change anything. Alright, well it says it's here. I don't know why it's red. These are some devices I have connected. Shouldn't bother anything. So you can change the color to whatever. Yeah, okay, so red doesn't necessarily mean bad. I've been well trained that red is bad. So back over here to Max MIDI setup. Still not seeing any inputs and outputs. That's weird. Okay, are you using Max standalone or Max for live? Right now I've been using Max for live, so that's what I was hoping, is to continue using Max for live, but then add an output to this so that you have the option of routing the joystick to other devices. It may not be possible. I totally allow that. But if I just open a Max patch here, I think I also didn't see any devices. Yeah, it still says none. So I'm gonna go to Google, see if I can find any options here. We're not gonna get stuck in on this for the whole night, I think, but it would be so cool to get this to work. My window is too big. There we go. So let's see. Let's try Googling Max MSP no MIDI ports. Can't set MIDI ports on Windows 10. Let's try specifying Mac. Let's see. Oh, Max for Live, as far as I know, only works with Live's input-out settings. Yeah, I was afraid of that. So this might be a rabbit hole that we don't want to travel down too far tonight. It was a thought. But you know what we could do is we could make this into a standalone patch at some point as well. I'm still just wondering why I have no MIDI ports, but yeah, you know, maybe that is something that I can troubleshoot without y'all here. Sad. Alright. Yeah, you're probably right, Beard Pills. I don't think that Live allows you to do this. It would be nice, though. Alright, well, in the meantime, let's continue on with some new features. So right now we can make notes and we can control this filter. One of the next things we wanted to do was add an LFO with the other joystick. So I think that this still requires, the next step being, we want to put this into its own little B patcher so that we can use it again. Next. So we are sending our increment amount from here up to there. And then we are adding that continuously to the current value of the thing we are controlling. So we're going to want all of this to kind of be in the B patcher. It needs to receive raw joystick data from somewhere. I'm going to do a save as here because this much is working and I don't want to bug it up. And I think for just a second. So we did this tricky little business last time where we wanted to be able to move faster in the higher end of the filter and slower in the lower end of the filter because it's much more sensitive down there. And we are going to want to be able to probably control that a little bit, but for right now, I'm wondering how to abstract this. Sorry for the moment of thinking, but this is one of those exciting parts of doing this live. We've got our joystick X coming in here. We've got the current value of whatever we're controlling coming in here. We continuously add them and clip them to a range that we like, and then we send, this is the final value that then gets sent out to the thing we're controlling. And in the meantime, we also use that current value to scale the amount that we are nudging. So that comes back over here and sets the maximum values, or in this case, the minimum of our scale objects. So this is one of those things that's going to need to be variable. And yeah, so what I'm going to do is thinking about if I want to just encapsulate this or if I want to make a B patcher. I think I want to make a B patcher. I think it is that time for the rest of the joystick controls. So this is just X-axis here. So I'm going to say, let's call this axis. That way we can use it for X, Y, left, right, whatever. And then I'm going to copy all of this. Except for this receive. I believe we only have one of those, yes. So I'm going to copy all of this. And I'm going to use this cool little trick here. Where is it? Group objects. I thought there was an encapsulate here. Let's see. Oh, man, I wanted to do this cool thing. Is it Command Option E? No, that's for presentation view. Shift Command E? God damn it. Alright, fine. I will copy and paste like a pleb. And we still probably want this metro, that's important. Copy. Take this over here. Paste. Let's make this a bit bigger. So now we're going to want an inlet. And that is where we are going to be receiving our raw joystick data. And now instead of calling this send joystick X and receive joystick X, these are now in a B patcher. Let's actually just connect them. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Shit. Okay. I think I did something by accident. Hold on, guys. My goodness, we have 6 whole viewers. Feel free to jump in and introduce yourselves, and I would love to hear from you, and send me your stuff, etc., etc. Sorry, I'm focusing on not fucking this up. Now I'm all nervous since there's people watching. This is the most people I've had at once, and now I'm gonna mess everything up. Alright. Okay, we are concentrating. What we want to do is we are going to take all of this except for this. And I really thought you could... Alright, I'm just looking it up. This is silly. Max MSP encapsulate shortcut. Thank you. Oh, it's in the edit menu. Holy crumbs. Alright. So yes, I want to take all of these things. This lets me preserve my connections. This is the reason why I'm futzing over this. Edit. Encapsulate. Command-Shift-E. Okay, I thought I was right. That's what we want. Look at that. Okay, so now we actually have a little sub-patcher here that we can easily turn into a B patcher if we want to. And it's got our inlets and outlets preserved. Honk from Teeth Engraved. I do know you. Hello. Thanks for joining us. So, yes, mission accomplished. The mission was to create this sub-patcher and remember the stupid key command for it. And it is apparently Command-Shift-E. And I was right, but I didn't have the right things selected. So now we have this, which is the same patch that we had before, but now we have some inlets and outlets created so that we can reuse this for our other joystick controls, and it's going to be awesome. So, let's see. We need this inlet here. I'm going to add a comment to it so we know what it is. This should be receiving raw data. So what we're doing is we are now abstracting this so that we can use this for more than just the x-axis on our joystick. And now, inlet 2 here is going into our scale object, and that is good, which is still receiving a nudge amount. Yep, that is good. And so what I'm going to be doing is turning this into a B patcher. And we are coming out here. This range is going to be the same. It's going to be always 0 to 255. Regardless of which joystick we're using. Receive nudge amount left is fine. And yes, everybody say hola to each other. And alright, let's see if this is still working, first of all. Yep, we're still getting input, still getting output. And we are still receiving our nudge amount left, and I feel like I just want to compare this to what we had before, and that's why I did a save as. This bit is tricky, but once we have it, we can reuse it. So I swear to you, Chad, it will be worth it. So let's open up our previous version. Right, so receive nudge amount left doesn't need an outlet here. I thought that looked a little funky. We don't need this. This should be connected here. I believe that is right. Yes. So this is receiving our raw data. This is receiving a bang that says we have changed our scale amount, or rather the nudge amount in here. Let's put this over here so we can see what we're getting. That got lost. We are just detangling, and we're sending joystick X and receiving it up here. And I believe that's the only one we have. Receive joystick X. Whoops. Yep, we only have the one. So within the patcher, I'm going to tie that directly over there. That's fine. This inlet 2, what should that be coming from? That's our metro. That can go inside of our patch. Let's see. So we can get rid of this. We really only need one inlet. We want to take raw joystick data and then spit out our scaled amount from here. So this is the only outlet we need. This is good. This metro is saying that we want to constantly be listening for the current raw value of our joystick and adding it to whatever our increment amount is as we nudge the joystick in one direction or the other. So this we do need an inlet for, actually. This is going to be receiving, currently it's receiving the current value of the filter x-axis. You can see it over here. It is tied in here. So this is what's a little bit tricky. We want to be able to hook this up to whatever we want. Like, for example, the y-axis of this filter. That'd probably be a good place to start because it's easy to see. So we do want an inlet and an outlet for that. I'm going to label this inlet so we don't forget what it is. So this should receive current value of control. Let's not call it control. Let's call it target. That makes more sense. Using descriptive variable names is really important no matter what language you're using. And this is going to send the new value of the target. Alright, so that's looking good. We have an inlet for raw, and then we have an outlet for what we are targeting, and then we have an inlet for the current value of what we're targeting. Let's save that as our subpatch, and then we will be able to transfer it to a bpatcher so that we can reuse it and still have an interface. We could reuse it like this, but I think it is a little bit easier to use B-patchers because then you can actually see what you're doing inside of your patch. Beardpill says, what do you need so that Live can talk to the joystick? Oh, good question. We're using this cool little object called HI. Stands for Human Interface. And if you look in the reference for that, then it gets you started and shows you that you can send a menu message into HI, and that will populate this with all of your available devices. And here you can find the PlayStation 3 controller. Let's see. And then to get it started, you have to also send a poll message, which just means listen to all of the incoming data. And then you get a massive stream of output, which is what we went through and filtered using this route. So here, just to catch you up, here's a printout of what we're getting. You can see it's a whole bunch of pairs of numbers, and the route object looks for whatever the first number is in a message, and if you are matching that first number, then it outputs whatever the rest of the message is. And in our case, that's just a second number. So, just to watch this come in, 26 is the number for the x-axis of the left joystick. And you can see as I move that, then I get between 0 and 255. So yeah, HI. It's a great little object. And I believe that these numbers are standard across all PlayStation 3 controllers. And generally the controllers are pretty standard within HI. So the hope is that you could use this yourself and connect your own controller. Though a PlayStation 4 controller behaves differently, and I did have to go through a bunch of crap to figure out how to connect them. And essentially the trick is, and this is funny, plug the controller in, open System Preferences, go to Bluetooth. It says connected now, but it would normally say not connected. You hit the PlayStation button, and that does not actually make it connect, but it makes it start talking. And then as soon as you unplug the cable, then it says connected. So that was an exciting thing to figure out. It was literally as soon as I threw up my hands and decided to give up, that it suddenly said connected, and then the HI object is able to find it. So, that is the explanation of how we got started. And we are using this raw data connected to number 26, and we are sending it over into our little patch. So, I believe we can see that this is still working, and we haven't broken anything by abstracting this out into a little sub-patcher, which is a really tricky thing, as you can see, to do with Macs without losing your inlets and outlets and your data. And yes, we are indeed still successfully making sounds, thank God. Yeah, no problem, Beardfills. I hope that helps, and you can explore your own controllers and things. And, again, I glazed over this because I was focusing and I was nervous because now I've got all these people here, and but I am hoping that this can be a space that we can all learn from each other. And like, if you've made a cool thing with the HI object, or you want to convert this patch to work with a different controller, then that would be sick. And tweet it to me, and then we can look at it on stream together. And later I'm going to make this device available to everybody, and you can make your own music with it and share it. And thank you, Teeth Engraved. I will try to relax. Feeling better now that I know that things are not broken. So, let's see if we can do this with the y-axis. And, actually, let's get a little more exciting than that. We can delete this now. This is working. Things are looking cleaner. I'm excited. We currently have the joystick y-axis connected up to the resonance on the filter, and that's working pretty well as it is. We just have that hard mapped to the minimum to maximum. I want to add us an LFO. I think that would be neat. And That would be a bit more exciting because we already have the y-axis working here. And it would probably be good to move this into a B patcher, but maybe we don't need to do that right now. Let's save this. Let's close it. We don't need this now. We know things are working. I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to close that. I'm going to close that. I'm going to close these two. And back over here. Now let's Google how to make an LFO. So, just some synth terms. That just means that we would have a slow oscillator that is going to control... let's start with having it control the amplitude of our signal, so that we can have something that not only swooshes with the filter, but also goes wah, 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 with the amplitude. And we're gonna cheat. Let's do some Googling. It's not really cheating. This is just how we're gonna start. See if we can find ourselves a little example to work off of. So let's see. Max MSP. Let's say easy LFO amplitude. LFO with max MSP. So here's an abstraction somebody else made. We don't need that. So for a simple LFO, you can use any of the usual MSP oscillators with the frequency set to range around 0.01. Yep. So I believe if we wanted to start with like a sine wave, we'd want like a cycle tilde, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. Beard pills. If it still says web instead of wub, autocorrect. Ignore all of this, thank you. Okay, no problem. Happy to. No problem at all. Let's see. Yeah, so you can adjust the strength of the modulation by sending the LFO's output first through a times tilde, right? So that's going to give us the depth of our oscillator, with a number box float connected on the other side to act as a mod amount setting. Cool. Here's an example patch. We could just take a look at that. Copy to clipboard. Yep, here's someone using cycle tilde. That's kind of what I was thinking. This may not necessarily be the right way of using or making an LFO, but I find it works for me. If you want it to be in signal form, then use a cycle tilde with a low frequency. For parameter control and number work, use this simple method. Cycle tilde into snapshot tilde 10 into +1 into divided by 2, and then a 0 to 1 or whatever speed your cycle is going. Alright, cool. We've got some options here. Here's someone using some FM. So I think cycle tilde is probably what we want to experiment with. Kind of curious what this example looks like. There's a couple of ringed presets in the browser, Teeth Engraved. Ah, ring mod. Autocorrect, yeah, no problem. This is not wanting to paste. I have beach balled. Oh no! Oh lordy. We beach ballin', chat. We beach ballin'. Am I gonna have to force quit? Oh, it's not looking good. Let's force quit. Thankfully, we saved things. Alright, let's reopen. Reopening time. Oh yeah, ring mod is great. I agree, Teeth and Grave. That's definitely something I'd like to incorporate into this at some point. Beach Ball and Son of Beach Hoondoon. Yep. Looks like Max previously crashed. Would you like to recover your work? Yes? Is it gonna make it crash again? No, thankfully. Okay, good times. So, cycle tilde gives us a sine oscillator. Let's take a look in here. We can change our frequency. So we'd want this to be real small for this to work. For a low frequency oscillator. Oops. So let's steal some of this. We will use this. And then what we would want to do is have this start at maybe 0.01. And then I'm going to add a times tilde in here. So that lets us multiply two signals. That's going to take the output of cycle. And we're going to multiply it by... Well, we want to be able to control the depth of the LFO. So we're going to want to start with this at 0, but be able to control it with a float. Let's have it start at 0.5. So this is going to oscillate between negative 0.5 and positive 0.5 right now. And then we want to take that and multiply it again with the output of our filter before we send it out to live. So let's just try that and see if we can get some basic oscillation happening. Step 1. I wonder if we want the left or the right. It probably doesn't matter because this is signal level. Let's put the cycle in the right. Let's put the biquad, that's our filter, our final output, in the left. Let's have this, whoops, default to 1. And let's turn this down so we don't blast our ears by accident. Send this into our gain slider. Yep, input audio signal to be scaled. Channel 1, channel 2. Yep, that's correct. Cool, cool. Alright, and hopefully this will work. Let's hit a note. I think we still need to select this from our menu to tell it we want the PlayStation controller. Oh good, we have some audio. Let's turn it up a little bit. I see it fluttering. Hey, that's an LFO. Alright. Now can we actually control the speed of it here? Yep. Looks like this number box has a limit on it, because I stole it from the help file. Let's just add a new one here. 0.01. We don't want negative numbers, so. Yep. Alright. Hey, that's an LFO. Beautiful. Alright. So let's say about 1 to 20. That works. As a range. So that is the ideal that we want instead of this guy up here that we're using for our x-axis. And that means that in our patcher, we're going to need to change our range. Beard Pills, Radical D, is there a way to Clamp the values or map them to a specific range. Yes, indeed. That is our next mission here. So there's two ways. There's clip that we are using that puts a hard limit of minimum 120 to maximum 9,000 is what we have here for our filter. And we're going to need different values for that for our LFO. And then there's scale, and scale takes whatever you put into it and whatever you and changes it to the range that you set by putting it through a formula. And it's not going to stop you from putting values into it that are outside of this range, but it will scale them according to what you tell it to. So like right here, we're saying input values should match from, well, let's look at this one actually, because it's a little easier. If we're taking the right side of our joystick, which is ranged 138 to 255, we are changing that to a range of 0 to 10. So those are the two objects that are working in tandem to set our ranges. Now, I do believe to set an argument here, I would use something called the changeable argument, #1 or #2. And yeah, no problem. Happy to explain anytime. I used to teach, so you can kind of always stop me and ask me questions. It is no problem at all. So I'm going to put in an argument here and make sure that we can pick it up inside of our subpatcher. Incidentally, this works the same way as a bpatcher does, I believe. It's just that it's not visible until I double click on the patcher object. So save this. Save this. I thought this would translate to an argument. So I'm going to have to look this up. Patcher. How do we pass an argument to a patcher? Let's see. Configuring objects in a patcher, organizing your patch, scripting. So these are all some useful little articles. So you can embed a patcher in another one with a patcher box as above. The inlets and outlets on the box correspond to the inlet and outlet boxes in the embedded patcher. You can close the embedded window by clicking in its close box and reopen it by double-clicking, yada yada. Alright. P control. This patcher receives messages. Time to Google. Receive arguments in subpatch max MSP. Patcher arguments. Yep, this is what we want. So yeah, it's hashtag 1 through 9. Oh, it probably just doesn't work inside of a message like I tried it. Alright, cool. So if I was to... Let's try with this clip. I want this to be a variable range. So let's say 1 and 2. And we want that to be 120 to 9,000. Save, close. Whoops. I didn't mean to close the whole patch. Come back. Mm-hmm. 120, 9,000. What? Oh, alright, right. This is why I wanted a B patcher. All right, time to move to a B patcher. We're going to copy all of this. I'm going to reopen that axis that I made. I'm going to paste this. Now we know this all works. And that should be cool. And now, instead of having a little sub patch, we're going to say B patcher. Open the inspector. And I'm going to set patcher file to be axis. There we go. You can see it's in there. If I was to make this bigger, we could see the entire interface if we wanted to. Let's move this out of our way. Yes. And now we can give this an argument. Arguments. Edit. 120. I think these are separated by a space, not a comma. We will see. Yeah, looking good. And now we should see... Yep, see our clip object now has 120 to 9000. Wonderful. Now let's connect this up instead of this little patcher. And it should be connected up in exactly the same way. Okay. Nice. Let's make sure everything still works. I think we're good. All right. Reselect our controller. And it's still working. Hooray! I think the only thing that is... Yep, we have this set to 0, so we're not hearing anything. There we go. Cool. Alright, nice. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, sick. So now, the magic is we want to be able to use this with our newly created LFO. Let's see if we can get it to do stuff. I'm gonna just option drag this whole thing over. And instead of receiving the raw left joystick X, I want to receive the... Let's do the right joystick X. Let's just reuse Y, actually, on the left. Send raw joy Y. Yeah, raw L joy Y. That's coming out at number 21 here. This little guy is mapping it to the resonance on the filter. We're going to leave that in place. And we're going to receive this. Over here, whee! And send it in there. And now, we're still going to be getting 0 to 255, but we're going to want a different range, so I'm going to set different arguments here for our clip. And let's make it, instead of 120 to 9000, 0, because at 0 we see our LFO isn't doing anything, up to, let's say, 15. That should be easy to hear. And now instead of this number box, which is connected up to our filter frequency, we're going to use this number box that is connected to our cycle. And it needs to receive here and also send up here. And hopefully that doesn't make a stack overflow. What do you think, chat? Do you think it's going to work? Cross your fingers. First of all, okay, it is indeed receiving. I think probably our nudge amounts are not great. We probably need those to be variable too. but we can get sound. Let's make this a bit louder. Turn this up a little bit. Yup. Okay, so that is doing stuff. And that's the first step to greatness. So I think we need another variable in here. That is the only large thing that we're missing. And if we can get that happening, then I am stoked and I will call this a stream. So let's control click, object, open original. So we need to add another changeable argument in here. Right now we have 1 and 2 going into clip to set the hard limits on our range. And then the other thing we need is, I believe, to scale our nudge amounts. So that is the -10 and... yes, that makes sense. For our filter, we're going from -10 to +10 because we have a huge range on the filter. But that would be pretty much on-off for an LFO. So we're going to want to scale to something much smaller here. So let's remember -10 and +10, and let's make these changeable. So we're going to still want 0 in the middle, but this is going to be #3 for our next changeable argument. So that's our minimum for down in this case. And this is going to be our maximum. #4. Cool. So we're going to save. And we're going to add our arguments here to the filter one. So 3 is minimum, so we want -10. And 4 is maximum, so we want +10. And then here, we want something pretty small. We want to nudge by like 0.1. Oh yeah, -10 plus... Yep, you're close. -10 and +10 is what we want for the filter. And in this case, since we only have a range of 0 to 15 for the LFO, I don't know, let's say -0.2 and +0.2. Let's see how that works. So first of all, because I saved, I might need to reselect this. Is left-right working? Oh, no, it isn't. We broke something. Crap. Okay, what did we break? First, let's actually just close and reopen this, because sometimes editing on the fly like this gets Max confused. We talked about the max uncertainty principle last week. That's what I call it. That's when sometimes things mysteriously work when you turn them off and on again. PlayStation 3 controller. So at least our filter should still be working. And it is. Okay, I guessed right. Nothing's wrong. Everything is fine. Okay. Cool. Let's make a note. We're still going to want this to be at something greater than 0. We're getting sound. Sweet. And I do hear that doing some LFO stuff. Neat. Okay, so that is kind of doing what it's supposed to do. We've made steps. It's not perfect, but that is part of the process, and we will refine this next time. We have made some good leaps, though. We now have a B-patcher that we can use for multiple controls, and we have an LFO that is connected up correctly, and next time we can make it a bit more musical. So yay! Thank you everybody for joining us, and it's been a lot of fun. Nice to have some new folks here, and yeah, dude. Thanks to everybody. It is really nice to be able to share stuff with you. And, yeah, please send me things if you want me to talk about something next time. If you want me to share something of yours next time. If you want me to explain something better or try a new feature, then hit me on Twitter. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Let's see if we can raid somebody. What do you think, Jet? Let's see who is on. Raid channel. Who is up? Nobody is up. Really? Nobody that I know is up. It's midnight. It's not that bad. Okay, I guess we're not raiding anybody. Hit me up if you have people you want me to raid. Alright, I guess we're gonna call this a stream. Thank you to everybody again, and I'm going to say good night. Until next time. Ending scene.